Compensation will be negotiated at that point and you will come to an agreement on compensation. It doesn't automatically mean that that's going to come out of your pocket when it's time to close. Hey, what's happening, friends? Here is part 2 of our 2-part series updating you on the aftermath or results of the NAR settlement that went into effect about 40 days ago. And so part 1 was for sellers. You can watch that video as the last one that we posted. This is part 2 for buyers. And these are some observations and recommendations that I'm making if you're a buyer to our clients and folks that are out there thinking about hiring a real estate agent. So the first thing is recommendation number 1 is it is more important than ever to do your due diligence before signing any type of representation agreement. This is a contract and they are now required in order to go see a home. And so as a buyer, you really want to make sure you are evaluating who you are hiring as your real estate agent. And so do your due diligence, check them up on Google, do some online research, check some references, make sure you sit down and have a consultation with them, evaluate that there's someone that you want to work with and has the expertise that you need to achieve your goals. Don't just sign a piece of paper because somebody says you have to in order to go see a home. That is not a good idea. You could be signing a long-term agreement if you don't read it properly, and you want to make sure you're very careful about what you're signing. So please, please, please do your due diligence before signing any type of contract. With all that being said, point number 2 and recommendation number 2 is don't be afraid to sign an agreement. If you feel very comfortable and you feel good about the decision that you're making to enter into an agreement with an agent, go ahead and sign it. 1, you have to in order to go see homes, but 2, it's going to create a professional environment and a professional agreement between you and your agent, which is important in the process. Is a part of a professional process that just has to take place now. And what's very important to understand is although compensation will be negotiated at that point and you will come to an agreement on compensation, it doesn't automatically mean that that's going to come out of your pocket when it's time to close. We are seeing in 90% of cases right now, sellers are still offering or contributing to the buyer's compensation for their representation. And so at the point of making an offer, if you're working with a good agent and they know how to negotiate and they know how to have that conversation with the selling agent, in most cases, we are seeing compensation still come from the seller because they understand that that's necessary in most cases for buyers in order to help them with their closing costs and their representation. So you won't know for sure until you start making offers and you have that negotiation, but it doesn't automatically mean that you're going to have a huge bill at closing. So make sure that your agent explains that to you in detail. And point number 3, also extremely, extremely important. It is probably, if you need a mortgage, more important than ever to have an outstanding lender that works very closely with your great agent, because when it comes to financing and making offers, the way you structure your offer can be done in many different ways with your lender, depending on how you want to structure compensation and contributions from the seller, whether you want to handle it as a direct commission to your brokerage, whether you want to handle it as a concession directly to you that you use to cover closing costs. There are many different ways based on the loan program that you're using, the amount of down payment money that you have, what you want your monthly payment to be. The lending side of the business got about as complicated as the real estate side of the business when all of this happened, because they have to strategize deeper than they've had to before in order to help you get to the point where you feel comfortable with your finances, what your monthly payment's going to be, what your down payment's going to be. So you want to make sure one of the due diligence questions you want to ask your agent is, what is your lender partnership look like? What does your lender relationship look like? Because when it comes time to make an offer, and if you use their lender to get pre-qualified, you want to make sure that they have a very close working relationship and they're going to be strategizing on your behalf to help you reach your goals. And that is absolutely critical in today's world. So if you have any questions about all of this and you want to go into a consultation in more detail, you can always reach out. There's a link to book a meeting in the description below, or you can always reach out to Dylan@buybigisland.com and I'll get right back to you. Thank you always for watching. This was your buyer update after the NAR settlement. Go watch the seller update if you're thinking about selling. And if you have any questions, always reach out. See you guys next week. Aloha.